Guys, hello, Paul. How you doing, Paul?
Hello.
All right, mate. How you doing, man?
Yeah, not bad
See ya.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm all right. I haven't spoken to you in all like 30 seconds. All right, it's
Welcome
good
to the
see you,
world.
dude. Welcome to the first episode of Through the Looking Glass. We should have a little button for a round of applause or fireworks or something, shouldn't we? Episode one.
Episode one.
You've been waiting for this, haven't you, Paul? You've been waiting for this for a little bit, haven't you?
Feels like forever.
Why is that? Why does it feel like forever?
It feels like I was born to do this. You know, everything that I've done in life, all my choices, sliding doors moments have led to this very point in time.
Oh, you've made some bad choices, man. That's what I'm getting from that.
But it leads me here.
Choices. What's it all about? What is Through the Looking Glass all about, Paul? What are we going to do? Why are we here?
Tell us, Simon. Why are we here?
Tell us.
What are we doing for the world? What benefit do we bring?
Not
to
a
the
lot of
human
benefit,
race?
man. Not a lot of benefit at all, really. I think we are here to whinge and moan, basically, like a couple of middle-aged white dudes that we are. I should say middle-aged, middle-class white dudes that we are. Just have a good whinge about things, really. I think that's why we're here, isn't it?
I'd say so. But I would say that, is it moaning or is it just observations that have been gained through our longevity on this earth?
I think some observations. I think we're going to talk about some cool stuff that we're into. We're going to talk about societal trends. We are going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about dad stuff. We're going to talk about exciting stuff. You come to me almost every day with some sort of random physics theory and things like that, right? So that's what we're going to talk about a lot, really, I think.
I feel I am the modern Greek philosopher and the thinker of our times, which probably means I've got too much time to think.
Indeed. Why don't you tell us first of all, tell us about what you were telling me earlier on about social media and the problem that it gives to different voices. Tell me about that while I try and fix my flickering camera. Tell me about that.
No problem. So in the world of in the modern age, IT and such has been a great benefit to the human race. But one of the drawbacks it gives us is the fact that it allows voices that wouldn't have been heard a long time ago to have a platform and a worldwide reach, not just a local community reach. So go back long enough, go back to the cavemen, go back to Rome, go back just a bit further before even IT was really comes to life like it has today. Those small voices weren't heard. Those small voices were, well, not small voices, the wrong way to say it, really. The people with those radical opinions didn't have an audience. People would just walk on by them. In the Victorian times, people would just tell them to be quiet or they wouldn't be heard because it didn't make sense. And through the revolution, which is our technology, through social media, through Twitter, now X, through Facebook, through YouTube, people are able to buy equipment, laptop, computer, camera, even do it on the iPad, even do it on their phone, and be able to present to the world, you know, be able to reach into people's bedrooms, living rooms, into their lives, if they allow them in, and share their opinions and thoughts, which in turn allows them to get a following. So, and that following.
But what problem does that give us then? Why is that a problem?
Well, I don't know. It's interesting to see where it's going to go. Is it a problem now? I think people are starting to push back on it. And the voices that I think are the ones that, or the thoughts and opinions what I think are maybe on the extreme side. You could look at the gender movement at the moment. You know, the extreme thoughts and feelings of the LGBT community. And the extreme side, not the people that are just there to enjoy their lives, have a good time, express themselves, and their sexuality, that's absolutely fine. But the people who are taking that and empowering it for the wrong reasons to push their agenda. Some of the things we've seen in America a lot, and this is through social media, not through any experience of me being there yet, is the fact that they push a lot of these things within schools. You know, when you start looking into the hearts and minds of kids, I think you're looking to attack the generation that's moving to the future. So my feelings, kids should be protected from everything. They should be allowed to grow and naturally become who they want to be. Us as adults have a massive responsibility, which you see within sports, in coaching. There's always about protecting the kids in there, which you see through the teachers. You should be careful what you tell children, how you speak to them, how you talk to them, what you do to change their thoughts and feelings. The extreme side in America, which I've heard, is the fact that they even look to give them drugs and chemicals to change who they are, because they may have a thought that I'm not a boy, I'm a girl.
See,
at 5-6 years old,
yeah,
they change their minds all the time.
Well, we've spoken about this before. I could talk about sort of gender stuff all day long, and maybe we need a future episode to talk about that a lot. My camera's frozen, by the way. There's nothing I can do about it. So
great picture.
You're gonna have to put up.
Looking good.
Have to put up with that face, but I'm still gonna keep waxing lyrical, right? Because
I think I prefer it.
Yeah, thanks, man. I think just get a cardboard cutout and put that in their place, which is basically what I do at home anyway. But anyway, I think you're onto something with this, and I think it leads into something we were also talking about the other day, which was around centrism. Now, I don't like to be politically pigeonholed. I don't like somebody to say you're left wing or you're right wing or you're this. I don't like it because I don't really understand it, essentially. I don't really get it. But what I do notice lately, and I think this is linked to your point, is that you are no longer allowed to be centrist within society, which is a real paradox because centrism wins votes. Centrism wins elections. Look at Keir Starmer at the moment. Right, he's probably one of them. Well, certainly when you put him next to Jeremy Corbyn, who was ultra left wing, didn't go very well, right? Keir Starmer, it's going really well. Keir Starmer's a bit like Tony Blair, who was that sort of centrist or just left of centre. Right, and then you had David Cameron, who was just a bit right of centre. These have done well in politics, right? And when you go too far either end of the spectrum, it doesn't really land well because you isolate a lot of the electorate, obviously, right? Yeah. But then within society, you're not allowed to be centrist. And a great case in point of this is around the old Gaza, the Gaza debate and Israel and Palestine, that sort of thing. Like, I'm constantly being told through all sorts of media that I have to pick a side. I have to be one or the other here. And if I'm not supportive of Hamas, I'm Islamophobic, right? And if I'm not supportive of Israel or the IDF, then I'm anti-Semitic. There's this real binary false dichotomy thing that happens. I'm not allowed to sit in the middle and go, actually, I think people killing people are genuinely and generally quite horrible, and I haven't got a lot of time for either of them. So why am I not allowed to be in the middle anymore, Paul? Why not?
Because people want you to pick a side, and I think one of the, again, maybe an interesting topic for another episode is potentially our feelings about religion and the fact that we don't buy fully into the religions of those areas means that doesn't come into our thought. We're not one God or the other. We're just about the people that live there. We're about everyone getting along, everyone understanding each other, and everyone being respectful of how people worship and how people feel. I think one of the great things I saw, I think it was when Trump was in power, Trump was asked the question, what does he want between Russia and Ukraine? I know we're moving away from Gaza and Israel. He just wants them all to stop dying. And as much as you can or can't like Trump, he's not wrong there. He just wants everyone to stop killing each other, find some sort of an agreement where they can all settle. From the media that we've seen, Russia did start it, but Trump's opinion is, he just wants peace. And eventually, with all war, it ends in peace. You can't have war forever.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, Paul?
Go for it.
If you were American, who would you vote for? And we can say this, right? I can't ask you who you're going to vote for in the UK because that's a bit uncouth, right? And as British people, we don't like things that are uncouth. But and maybe I shouldn't ask you this either, but if you were in America right now, who are you going to vote for? Or would you just go, I'm not really voting because I think both choices are a bit shit? Where would you be?
Sam, would I be voting as an American though? A gun wielding redneck.
Yes,
freedom bombs sprayed all over the world. So I'm American.
Are all Americans like that? Are all of them like that?
Probably not. No.
I don't know.
You just you are. Oh, can't think of the blooming word. Stereotyping. Boom. Stereotyping them, aren't you? From what we see and what we hear.
We are.
I'd go. I think it's Biden and Trump at the moment, isn't it? You go for Trump.
Yeah.
Because he can remember stuff.
That's
simple.
I think that
Biden's a dead man walking, literally. Bless him.
Well, I think maybe you're onto something there, and maybe you
should go to a care home. You know.
Well, maybe somebody who's got dementia shouldn't really be in charge of running a country. Probably shouldn't really be in charge of anything other than the local sort of care home bingo, maybe, or something like that.
I'm not sure if you do that.
We're not. You wouldn't remember.
You need a team around him. You need an advisor. You need people to tell him what to do, when to do it, who to shake hands with.
It's funny, isn't it? Though? It is funny though when you think about what are America going to do this year, because you've got that choice between what is now a convicted felon and an old bloke with dementia. I'm getting the sense that you're a Trump fan, Paul. Is that where we're at? I'm getting that
Trump last time, and I think he whipped up a lot of America and radicalized them and allowed the people, the insane people, to come out. You look at the Capitol riots. I mean, as much as he said he didn't want people to do it, everything he did led up to that moment where they invaded the Capitol. I mean, you're not crazy, but then his politics wins. He is a alpha male, red-blooded, supports guns. He wants peace, but the way he goes about things, I think he shook up the political scene in America, and that's why people liked him. He told the truth, and that's probably why people want him back again, because he tells the truth to the extreme sometimes. And if you go back to your point about Israel and Gaza and about not being able to sit in the center, I think that leads on to a whole other thing of us just not getting involved with that side of the world. We're different.
It is, isn't it? I think I remember back to when Trump came to power, and we all thought we were in Back to the Future 2. And like Biff Tannen was in charge of Hill Valley, right? That's genuinely how we all thought. I thought that America had just failed some sort of massive intelligence test. And then obviously we voted for Boris Johnson. So obviously we're in the same boat. But I now, when you look at it, isn't it funny? Because now, what is it? 8 years later, you look at it now and you go, how is he the best choice? What has happened in the last 8 years for me personally to go from how the hell can you have Biff Tannen as your president to now going, actually, Trump is the one who's right, and probably what he's been saying all along has been quite right. How has that happened? How?
Because I think Trump's the truth teller. I think one of the greatest things about him is his fact that, I'm going to say he doesn't lie. Jesus. I think I don't even know if I can actually back that up with facts. But the stuff that we see, and I've not looked at his finances and his books, and my God, the controversy he's been involved in, I think shows the flaws he's got. But he is a lot more truthful than the opposition. You look at Biden. I think there's so much going wrong there. You look at Hillary Clinton and all the emails that were lost. You look at everything that people say about her. She's just not a nice person. And again, we're taking it on from what we see on the news. God, I don't know the person. But Trump, out of all of those, is the one that's going to come in and tell you if UFOs exist. He'd probably tell you the address of all the secret bases throughout America if he thought it would give him some more voters. I don't know. I think he just doesn't think politically.
I know, I don't think he does. And I think I saw something the other day that says if he comes to power, he's going to unlock like the 9/11 files. He's going to unlock Epstein files. mental stuff. And the thing is, he probably will, won't he? So how do we balance this, right? Because you've got a guy there who is saying those sorts of things. You think that's great, that's really populist, love that. But then you've also got him saying let's inject some detergent to get rid of COVID. Well, how are we balancing these things, man? How are we doing it?
You got to take a pinch of salt because they are American, and America itself hasn't been around for that long.
If we've got any American viewers, like we're sorry but not sorry at the same time, I guess.
Then this has been the best first episode ever.
Yeah.
We've reached that far afield.
To be honest, in a future episode, right, I do want to talk about something in a future episode. We're not going to talk about it now, but I want to talk about Americans and their perverse attachment to guns. Can we talk about that in the next episode?
Freedom.
Episode freedom. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. You will take freedom with an AK.
And that'll link it nicely to another one about how England has caused a lot of the problems throughout the world.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that next. But let's stick. We'll stick where we are around.
We'll go back on centrism.
Yeah. Let's go back to centrism. And I'm seeing it all the time. It's not just in the Gaza, Palestine, Israel thing. I see it in more locally as well, right? And the gender debate is an interesting one, right? And I don't think that I've moved politically in the last 10 years. I think I'm standing firmly still where I am and the things that I believe in, right? I think that I probably am quite a centrist in those, but I think the left has gone so far left that they have left Be Kind behind a long time ago, right? And I think that if you don't agree with things like the gender ideologies, you don't agree with unfettered immigration, then you're immediately a bigot. And that's what you get labelled. You're a bigot, you're far right. And there's this idea that you can't debate these things. You can't offer reasoned centrist rationale without being labelled as the other way. And it's the same thing when you try and debate far right people, right? Maybe like, Tommy Robinson, they did a march, didn't they, at the weekend? You got Lawrence Fox, you got people like that. Lawrence Fox, I saw him, he was burning a pride flag in his garden the other day, right? Which is really incendiary, obviously, on two fronts. But he's burning a pride flag in his garden. You think, why be a dick? Like, you don't have to agree with all of it, absolutely right, but why be a dick about it? But you can't stand in the middle anymore. You have to pick a side.
How do you know he was burning the flag?
Well, there was a video of it.
Where was the video?
Well, I saw it on X.
Okay, so there
you go. It's definitely him.
Was the flag being burnt for his own reason? Was he like, I want to get rid of this flag? I've had this flag up in my house for too long now, and I want to get rid of it.
I don't think he's having a bonfire, mate. No,
yeah, exactly. Or is it for views and followers? And this is the thing: burning 100%. A flag is. I mean, you go to America and try and do that with an American flag, and if you do that in the middle of New York, I'm sure you'd get some harsh responses to it. So
we've seen that though, haven't we? We've seen that lately with the pro-Palestinian. Not parades, what's the word I'm looking for? Marches or protests. Yeah. I've seen that in America. They've been burning American flags, and obviously Americans don't like that. You don't touch their flag, right? That's just
same should be for England as well.
Well, it is though, isn't it? It is, and I think that's part of the point. I've actually watched this morning. I watched Tommy Robinson's documentary that he released. I think he showed to people on Saturday. He did a big march in London and he showed people this documentary on Saturday. And I've seen that now. And part of what he's talking about is how is it right that you've got tens of thousands of people marching down a street shouting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. And they're waving about Palestinian flags and they're fine. And then there was a couple of people who were waving around a Union flag, the UK flag. They got arrested by police. How is that right? How am I not allowed to wave the UK flag here? But actually, I can get tens of thousands of people marching down the street with a Palestinian flag shouting a phrase that has absolutely got anti-Semitic roots. And that's okay. And I get that from the Tom Robinson bit. I get that. That's wrong, man. It's totally wrong. 100%. But also, a lot of the things that they say has an undercurrent of racism about it. And that doesn't make me feel comfortable either. I think what I'm trying to say to you, Paul, is that I am politically homeless. I'm politically homeless. And I've never been politically homeless in my life. I don't know what to do in this upcoming election.
But I think this stems from Parliament. So this stems from our parties, the ones that mostly get in. You've got Labour and Conservative. They're the ones that mostly get in. Lib Dem get a shot every so often and get to share a seat at the table. But you've mainly got the two big ones, swapping and changing every 4 years. All they do is argue. So if they can't agree, why can't they're taking one side or the other? They're not allowed to come together and go, okay, we agree on this topic. Let us implement a solution to the NHS or whichever this way, rather than you have to take my idea or your idea. That never works. You try that in business. That never works. You can't just dictate things to everyone all the time.
Do you think that they have caused the culture of populism, of this binary between right and left, between good and evil, between right and wrong? Do you think they have...
But they don't help each other.
I think you're right there. Do you know what? This week, and I've posted a couple of videos about this in the last couple of weeks. I'm getting really fed up with the two main parties in this country, Labour and Tories, right? And we've started a campaign, election campaign. And I've seen posts from Tory HQ. I saw one where Keir Starmer was dressed up as a robber, right? And it was like stealing from pensioners, whatever. Another one which just posted a piggy bank, which said, if you think Labour are going to win, start saving because it's going to get worse. And I think, well, how is it going to get worse? Like, there's working families that are shopping at food banks. What do you mean by get worse? And then also, though, Labour are posting things. I saw a video of Rishi Sunak, who's playing football, and he's clearly not very good at football. And they've just put embarrassing. That's what their post said, embarrassing, right? And I thought, well, no, actually, what's embarrassing is that you think that I want to see this playground politics play out in the public sphere. And I think it's really insulting to the population who actually want to hear what they're going to do to make the country better, what you're going to do to make all of our lives better, not just telling us how the other guys are crap.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And this is, I mean, you go off topic from the centralism thing in a way, because you could talk about politics 2, 3, 4 episodes where they are not leaders. And that's it. I think the last great leaders we had, and I'm aware of politics.
Oh, it is good. Go on then. Top 3 leaders. Come on, Paul. Let's do this. Top 3 leaders.
I go back to the days, and this is way before potentially politics was really a thing, although obviously it happened. We got like Richard the Lionheart, people like that. They were leaders. They were the ones who, I mean, they led people to war and stuff. But what I mean is they had the values
to their gruesome death.
Yeah, all right. So, but what I'm saying is the values. They had the will to lead from the front, head of the army. They were strong. We now don't have leaders. We now have just people.
Who's the last lead? Who's prime minister wise, or somebody in the cabinet at least? Where are you going for the last great leader for the UK?
See, me, I'd go Blair, but then you're way more involved in politics and know the people, like the actual people on the cabinet. But to me, he brought a good longevity. I think it was 8 years, maybe. I think it was 2 terms, maybe 3, where I thought he did good.
So there were 13 years, that Labour government.
Yeah,
97 to 2010. Yeah.
So
he wasn't all of it, was he? He wasn't all of it. It was because Gordon Brown took over.
He handed it off, and then it went downhill. Yeah. But the flaw behind what he did is we followed America into war, and again, completely different episode because I think we bend to them way too much, and that was his flaw, was saying let's go and invade a different country. Like, that was completely silly. But to me, Blair was good. He was strong, charismatic. He got on well with people. He knew what he was saying. He was good at Prime Minister's questions. We don't get that now. You've got Boris, you've got Rishi Sunak, you've got people that just bend to the people. We need a leader. We need someone who's strong. We need a Barack Obama. If you want to say worldwide, Barack's the man for me.
See, I knew you were going to say that. I know you got a bit of a love for Barack. It'd be interesting to see what any American friends think about Barack Obama. Me, personally, I think our last great leader, and this person was not a centrist, right? Absolutely not. Our last great leader, and it pains me to say this because she took my milk away from primary school, but was Margaret Thatcher. I think you had a wet lettuce after that, and John Major, right? You had a right wet lettuce. And then you had Tony Blair. Was he a great leader? He was a great politician. I'm not entirely sure, because he brought Labour back to power after God knows how many years, 20 odd years, wasn't it? The Tory government before that. Was he a great leader? I'm not sure. Gordon Brown? No. David Cameron? Probably not. I think you've had a lot of good politicians since Margaret Thatcher. I'm not sure you've had a lot of great leaders. That's where I'm at with that. So I think, and again, I do not agree with most of Thatcher's politics, but actually respect her as a leader. I think she was very good. She was the Iron Lady.
Strong. Yeah. She had to be strong to be in the world she was in, and definitely back in those days where obviously women's rights are a thing, but she had to do a lot to get to where she was in a man's world.
100%. 100%. Yeah, exactly right. That's why I think I always respect Thatcher for that, definitely. But centrism, yeah, and it's something that we've both got kids, we're dads, right? And it's something that I try and drill into my kids, which is there is a place in the middle on most things. You don't have to be at the polar end of topics. You don't have to. There is a place in the middle, which is there is a thing called nuance. There is a thing called compromise. Actually, good and evil, right and wrong, they're normally the products of Hollywood movies. They're very rarely a reality in things. One person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter, right? Who knows? Who knows what's right and wrong? And maybe I'm just not intelligent enough, not educated enough sometimes to actually know where the right and the wrong lies on these things. But I get annoyed in the society that we live in today, where I'm constantly being told that I've got to be one thing or the other. That gets my goat. It really does. And it makes you disengage. I think that's the point. I think right now, certainly in my lifetime, I think we have got a very disengaged population from politics, from these sorts of things. That's why people are addicted to TikTok and watching Love Island and just looking at utter crap, consuming crap, because everything else is just uninteresting and uninspiring most of the time. And I just want to disengage with it 100%.
I'll tell you a bit of a truth bomb.
Go on, hit me, man.
You look at the suffragettes. So
I prefer a love bomb, but hit me with a truth bomb.
I'm going to give you that today. So you look at the suffragettes. You think? Do you feel that women's rights are a good thing? Equal rights are a good thing?
Yeah, I've got some views about this, as you'd expect.
Hold on. I don't want to listen to them. I want to finish the truth bomb. It's not a bomb unless you drop it. Come on, man.
Oh, right, I thought it was a question. I thought you wanted to answer the question.
That was a question to lead to the explosion.
It was a rhetorical question.
They needed a bit of input.
Light the fuse, man.
So women's rights are a good thing. Equal rights, everything. I think they should be allowed to vote. All the stuff. Suffragettes fought for that back in the days. But the suffragettes blew places up. So they're extreme. You could align them slightly to what the IRA did, although they went on for a lot longer. For a time, they were doing what they did they're blowing places up. They were causing problems. But what they did got us to a centrist point of view, I guess, where women have got the same rights as men.
Well, here's the point, right? Isn't it? Because society is always in flux. Culture is in flux. What's right and what's wrong is in flux. And I imagine that a concept of females having a right to vote, having equal rights to things, or allowed ownership of things, you know what I mean? The things that the suffragettes fought for, that would have probably been seen as extremely left wing.
Yeah.
Back then, that's the point, isn't it? And things are in flux all the time. Maybe in 20, 30 years, gender ideology won't be seen so far left as it is at the moment. Like it's mega far left. I can't really get on board with it. I don't really get it. Yeah, maybe you're absolutely right. Maybe you're spot on. And you're right. You are right, though. You know, good. If you want societal change, you've got to make a bit of noise. Or what is it? What's the phrase? You know, you got to crack an egg to make an omelette. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. Really good point. Had a bit of salt. Yeah, cheese. You like cheese in your got cheese in omelette.
I love cheese.
Do you want a bit of ham? Do you have a bit of Spanish ham? Do you like Spanish omelette? Bit of onion, bit of Spanish hams and that.
I've not tried that yet.
Have you not? So Worcester sauce and pepper. Put that in before you put the egg in the pan, right? Put your pepper and your Worcester sauce in your beaten egg, right? And then put that into your pan for your omelette. Absolutely tip top.
It's no longer just an omelette, though, is it? It's no longer an egg.
It's a posh omelette.
You've masked an egg
with
every other flavour you can think of to disguise the fact you're eating an egg.
It's a very, very posh omelette, I think. And then you got to put loads of different hams in there and stuff, and a bit of. I'll tell you what else is a bit nice. A bit of pesto in there as well. Really nice. Really nice omelette. Really good. Mozzarella, pesto, maybe a bit of goat's cheese, caramelized onion. Absolutely spot on. Really good. Yeah, like that. Dude, we should probably wrap this up in a minute, shouldn't we? I could talk to you all afternoon. All afternoon I could talk to you, Paul. All afternoon. We'll have to do a marathon one time. We'll have to do a marathon. Maybe we'll do that for a charity. 24-hour podcast in the future.
This is not going to be George Lucas episode 1. This is going to be Through the Looking Glass episode 1, where people want to come back to it, not where people will just avoid episode 1 to skip on to 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's right, and we're not doing Game of Thrones. We're not going to fall off in season 8. We're just going to keep delivering the quality over a long period of time on this. If you've joined, I think there are possibly 9 people watching. That's what I can see here now. And I'm, to be honest, I'm overwhelmed by those numbers, actually. So if you are watching right now, thank you so much. I'm sorry my camera's not working. That. I know why my camera's not working, but I can't do anything about it while we're in the stream. Because I'm using an Apple machine.
I'm on a Windows machine. You're on an Apple.
Do you know what? We're going to do that. We're going to have that debate. I'm going to start a poll on X, Apple versus Windows, and we're going to have that debate on a future podcast. 100%. We'll do that. But no, just thanks for joining. Thanks for tuning in. We are incredibly grateful that you're tuning into 2 middle-class, middle-aged white blokes moaning about the world. Not doing a lot about changing the world, setting the world to rights.
Positivity, not negativity. Come on, man.
I like it. We're bringing nothing but love on this podcast. That's it. What did we say the other day? We're not the pair of tits that you want, but we're the pair of tits that you need. Yeah. I like that. That's our slogan. I like
Keeping Twitter alive.
Keeping Twitter alive. X. It's X now. I'm all about that. Another thing we're going to talk about in the future is Elon Musk and his contribution to humanity. That's another thing. We've got so many topics to talk about on this podcast. This is why it's going to keep going. But when are we back, Paul? When are we coming back?
Couple of weeks, Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah. Should we come back next week? You got time next week?
Yeah, next week. Why not?
Let's do it. We've
got 9 people watching, man. I don't want to keep waiting too
We've got
long.
10 people watching now. There's 10 people watching now. We're double figures. We're blown up.
Someone's watching on their phone and their tablet or something, isn't it? That's why it's saying that.
That's right. I've got family members watching it on about 5 different devices.
Nice. Yeah.
Love it. But no, guys, thank you so much. If you tuned in and you're listening to us moan or set the world to rights, as Paul likes to call it, we appreciate that. Really do. And tune in next time. It's live on X. It's live on YouTube. We're probably going to stick it on Rumble pretty soon as well. You can replay
back on the 11th of June.
Is that what it is next week? Back on the 11th of June. Same time, about 12:30. This is a good way to spend your lunchtime on a Tuesday, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. Right, cool. Let's wrap this up. Appreciate your time. Any last words or final thoughts?
No, thanks a lot for everyone for coming. It's great. I'd expected one person, maybe one person on a dog, but the fact we've got 10 people is outstanding. Yeah, so thanks a lot.
Isn't it? Awesome stuff. Right, cool beans, guys. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your week. Let's chat soon. Cheers.
See you later, guys. Bye.